This computer. There we go. Good evening. It's recording, right, Dorothy? Dorothy's my recording person. It is the 18th of September. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And we're going to continue learning about blood sugar. Today, we're going to start chapter 6, and we're going to go through those 4 chapters that I talked about. And when we're done, we're done. But we're going to totally absorb the information that's in there. And as I was doing that today, you know, it was really beneficial for me. A lot of it is, you heard Dorothy talk about last week, but she just actually set it up to where we will all understand it even better. So I'm going to share my screen now. For those that are watching it recorded, enjoy. And y'all can see my screen?
No. No.
Can you see it?
Now we do.
Everybody's good?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And I want to check and make sure I shared the sound, because I do have a little video for us tonight. Let me stop share. Let me share. And it is shared. So that was
I know.
Leave the light off more often.
well,
Okay.
Same
Thursday. Yep.
okay. So here we go. Chapter 6, and the habits of health, your blueprint for safe, rapid weight loss. I will say that even though what we're learning here, Dr. A was so good about educating people, along with educating people about the program, also it has to do with just understanding how you can eat healthy and the things that make a difference in the way you eat, when you eat, and what you eat. And it doesn't have to necessarily be on our program. He did a great job of explaining that. In this chapter, you will learn the fundamentals behind our healthy eating system, a system that was strategically developed to change your health rapidly, but with long-term health as the goal. And we're going to start by focusing on the central principles of energy management. As your body's boss, you need to fire your old energy management system. It's not working. Our goal in this first phase is to get you to a healthy weight and a body mass index, the BMI of 24.9. And I do have a BMI chart if anybody's interested in those. We've covered that a few times, so I did not include that today. We'll do that by lowering your caloric intake below your energy expenditure. That's calories in versus calories out. But don't worry, based on Dr. A's experience of helping thousands of people through this process, you'll still have plenty of energy. You won't be hungry. How is that possible? We're going to use the abundant stores of energy in that extra fat around your belly to turn you into a fat burning facility. To do that, we're going to alter your food intake in order to create a stable energy source, a process that taps into 2 core principles of energy management. And that is controlling your energy intake, that's through what we consume, and managing your insulin pump, because what you consume is balanced. Dorothy went over this last week. As you can see above, the typical Western diet of highly processed, high glycemic foods, soft drinks, candy bars, bagels, causes blood sugar, also called blood glucose, to rise dramatically. And that makes the level of insulin rise. What happens next is interesting. This elevated insulin level actually causes blood sugar to plummet, creating the rapid rise and fall you see in the chart. As blood sugar falls below normal, the brain sets off a series of messages that causes cravings. And soon you're scrambling for something sweet and full of calories. And so the cycle of high and low blood sugar levels continues, reigns, forcing eating patterns that lead to poor health and obesity. Now, I heard Dorothy say this last week, and I've heard Dorothy say it before, but I think last week it had a greater impact on me. And then as I was doing this today, it really had an impact on me, because she kept trying to stress that not only when your blood sugar drops, it also dictates what it wants. And that is usually high sugary, high calorie things that are going to lead to poor health and obesity. Did I translate what you said, Dorothy, correctly? Is Dorothy there? Can anybody see her?
Yeah, I said yes.
Oh, well, you must have been muted. I didn't hear you. Thank you, dear.
I was maybe sitting too far away from my microphone.
Oh, okay. And is there anything you would add again here? Because you say that so clear. And once you understand this, then doing it is easier.
I think the only thing that I would add is start your day with the balanced stuff. Don't start your day with something that is going to start you off with sweets, like honey in your tea. I put this on the thing before, and sugar in your coffee. If you choose to do that, you are going to do this up and down all day.
Makes sense. Lisa, you want to read?
Modern life's disease path, glucose, insulin response curve. Typical Western diet, a highly processed, energy-dense, high glycemic foods causes blood sugar or blood glucose to rise dramatically, which then causes insulin levels to rise. But that in turn causes blood sugar to plummet, resulting in cravings and a cycle of poor eating patterns that lead to obesity and disease. When insulin levels stay elevated this way, the body continuously uses glucose for fuel rather than both glucose and fat. And when it's not used as energy, all that ingested fat along with excess glucose and high fructose corn syrup is laid down in fat cells. In short, you become a fat storage factory, on top of which the huge meal right before bed keeps your body in fat storage mode throughout the night and disrupts your sleep, leading to even poor eating habits and even more weight gain.
And so back when we were learning about triglycerides and insulin and all that, we learned that when that insulin is pumped in the body, it goes to 2 small tanks and 1 endless tank. And the 2 small tanks are the brains and your muscle tissue. And when those are full, there's nowhere for that insulin to go. And then it's stored as fat in fat cells. Do y'all remember that lesson? Anybody?
No.
Really? Okay. I love that lesson.
I did.
Martha Pickering, were you speaking?
No, I was just agreeing that.
You remember the 2 little tanks in the big tank?
I do.
Yeah, I do too. That had an impact on me. I think about my big tank all the time. Who wants to read next?
I'll read.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Researchers divided their subjects into 2 groups. Both ate the exact same food with the exact same number of calories, but one group ate their food divided into their usual 3 meals a day. The other ate more often, consuming lots of little meals. Surprisingly, the group that ate small meals throughout the day lost more weight. It wasn't that they were less hungry, although in fact they were less hungry. They lost weight because their blood sugar didn't continually spike and then dip down to an even lower level the way it does after a big meal. Their glycemic levels, the amount of sugar in their blood, remained steady, and their craving for sweet foods went down. That's not all. After only 2 weeks, they found that the people who ate every 3 hours reduced their blood cholesterol by over 15%. And their blood insulin by almost 28%. That's key because in addition to regulating your blood sugar level, insulin plays a pivotal role in the fat metabolism, inflammation, and the progression to metabolic syndrome. When your body produces less insulin, you're much less likely to convert dietary calories into body fat. Your body begins to work differently, and you're no longer the fat factory that you once were. So what does this tell us? That it's not just what you eat, it's when you eat it. Small amounts of nourishment throughout the day are better than the same amount of food concentrated in 3 big hits. If we feed the body at regular intervals, we send a signal to the body that it doesn't have to store calories. Conversely, when we skip meals, we send just the opposite signal for the body to store calories, creating a negative effect on the metabolism. Eating regularly satisfies our ancient programming, prevents activating the alarm of starvation, and turns off fat storage. In our modern day version of hunting and gathering, and by adding low glycemic food to those meals, making them more like our ancient diet, we do even more to control blood sugar and turn off the insulin pump that leads to the dreaded fat storage fat that's crippling our health and leading directly to disease. Okay.
Who would like to be next?
I'll read it, Connie.
Okay.
Dr. A says, you finally have the ability to reach a healthy weight quickly when you learn the habits of health eating for life. The science of 6 feelings. What are the benefits of eating a small amount of food more often? Primarily, reason supports the idea that when the typical 3 square days is replaced by smaller, more frequent meals, it can help you lose weight, control hunger, reduce blood insulin, effect in fat storing and inflammation, lower total cholesterol levels, reduce LDL or your bad cholesterol, reduce levels of
Apolipoprotein.
the very bad stuff. I didn't even ever heard that word. Depress glucose levels, increase bile acid secretion, suppress free fatty acid levels, reduce serum uric acid levels, a common risk factor for coronary heart disease, increase urinary excretions, reduce adipose tissue enzyme levels, and reduce fluctuation in satiety, fullness.
And satiety, being full.
Satiety, being full.
Satiety.
Okay, so we now know that eating small, low glycemic meals is a grand way to turn off insulin and provide healthier food for our body.
So we're not even talking about, he is talking about our fuelings because he refers to 6 fuelings. But this can be done by eating healthy. The problem with getting the food balanced and with the right proportions of proteins and carbs and fats and fiber is manufacturers don't make food for you to be healthy. They make food to be profitable. When, one of the things we get with our fuelings is about the cost of them. But, what are you trading cost for when you're buying over-the-counter food? You're trading it for health. So it isn't that you have to eat the Optavia fuelings to be healthy. You just have to follow these rules and eat low glycemic and eat often. Anyone want to add anything to that? It's like I said, he's teaching you how to be healthy. You've lost the weight, now what? And that applies to people who are in this room right now. According to the National Weight Control Registry, people successfully with maintaining long-term weight loss do the following. They always eat breakfast, most important meal of the day. They don't sit around and watch TV. Weighing frequently. It's interesting that when we first get on the 5 and 1, they want us to only weigh once a week. Now, I don't think anybody adheres to that. It's probably me personally, I would weigh, my weigh-in was on Thursday, and I'd weigh on Tuesday, and just to see where I was going to be on Thursday. And it taught me that the scale is not reliable. I could be down 3 pounds on Thursday and get on the scale on Tuesday and get on the scale on Thursday and be down 1 pound. You can see why they don't want you to do that. And I could be not have lost weight on Tuesday and get on the scale on Thursday and have lost 3 pounds. So when they don't want you to be discouraged, the scale is it's feedback. It's not going to help you. There's too many other factors that calculate into your weight. But then after you are maintaining, then weighing every week, some people weigh every day, is so important. And I'll guarantee you, and if you haven't experienced it, it is true of many people that when you don't want to get on the scale, then it's because you think you're gaining weight.
Amen, amen, amen. And many times I've done that for extended period of times and been 20, 30 pounds heavier.
And you always have in the back of your mind, I'm going to lose it and then I'll get on the scale.
No, I've got in the back of my mind that I don't want to know, so I'm not getting on the scale. But I'm very close to my goal weight now, and yes, I will be using the scale to keep that off.
And no matter what, get on that scale, because that scale, when you see it, is going to be what directs you back to what matters most. And that's going to be.
Weighed every day.
You weigh every day, Dorothy?
I have always weighed every day.
Even when you were in the program?
Yes.
Okay. And obviously moving, they say exercise on an average about 1 hour a day. I think Marcia Birdmom was always exercising, but she has really grown to love her Zumba and her classes that she takes over to the gym. And I'm sure that's going to be a big factor in her maintaining. And then you have a plan, you stick to it. So you know what helps you maintain. Now all you have to do is adhere to it. Everybody knows why exercise will not alone help you lose weight. Because, you know, there's this thought out here that if you go to the gym, you're going to lose weight. And if you just take the science of it, it's going to be very hard for you to use exercise to lose weight. But exercise is very important, being healthy. Why exercise alone won't help you lose weight? Trying to fight fat with exercise, you may want to rethink your strategy. When you take in more calories than you expend, the excess gets stored as fat. 3,500 calories equals 1 pound. A lot of people don't know that. Eating just 100 extra calories a day, a bagel, a candy bar, a soda, translates to 36,500 calories of excess energy over the course of a year. If your body stores 1/2 of that, the result is over 5 extra pounds of fat a year. You could try burning those excess calories through exercise alone, but in order to burn just 1 pound, you'd have to run 33.8 miles just for that 1 pound. And nearly 1/3 of us have an extra 30 pounds of fat. To burn that much, you'd have to run 1,040 miles as equivalent of 40 marathons.
Okay.
Who wants to read now?
I'll read again.
Okay, go ahead.
The key to healthy weight loss. What's the key to successful mastery of both weight loss and long-term health? There are really two main components. The ability, number one, the ability to master the amount of fuel you take in, and number two, the quality of that fuel. So if we can devise a plan that delivers low-calorie, nutrient-dense foods in proper proportions, we have a recipe for success. I'm walking proof of that. How does it work? Portion size is key. When you eat healthy foods, that is low glycemic carbohydrates, healthy fats, and high-quality protein in smaller portions than your body is used to, a magical transformation occurs. Your body turns to plan B and begins to utilize the unhealthy fat around your middle to make up the deficit. Remember that 10,000-year-old programming we discussed? That stored system of fat begins to be used, and as it was intended, providing your body with a constant source of calories while signaling it to turn off insulin, hunger, and cravings for carbohydrates. There's another great benefit. By providing your body with these nutrient-dense, protein-rich feedings in small portions throughout the day, you protect your muscles from being cannibalized, unlike in some low-calorie weight loss programs. That doesn't mean you won't see results. In fact, you can expect to lose as much as 5 pounds the first week and at least 2 pounds, 1 to 2 pounds each week thereafter. And after about the first week, this weight loss is going to be mostly fat. During the first week or so of weight loss, you lose excess water weight as well as fat. The good news is that your puffiness will disappear.
And I remember looking better and feeling better. Who remembers that?
Amen. Vividly.
Yes, and even the thinking was much clearer once you got all that balanced.
Oh my gosh, just in 2 weeks, it's helped my emotions and my thinking and my work I have to get done, and it's been wonderful. I
Six.
still, I get, I get, I get hungry. I don't get hungry. My stomach hurts sometimes.
Oh, we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Who would like to read? Dorothy? Okay,
Mission Safe Club will encourage you to your initial weight loss phase also sets the stage for a whole new pattern of healthy eating. So now let's see how your body's going to respond to this new healthy feeling strategy. Okay. First, reduce your total energy intake by introducing smaller portion control meals and snacks. Second, we've switched to low glycemic meal that keep your blood sugar and insulin level from spiking. This constant stable energy source means no more wide swing of blood sugar. You turn off your insulin pump and take control of craving. Eating this way every 3 hours, starting with a healthy breakfast, helps you build a whole new energy management system. One that disperses energy throughout the day in accord with your body natural design. And once you begin to use energy more efficiently this way, your body quickly starts to offload excess calories, producing the perfect internal environmental for hunger, control, and weight loss. That's the science behind our plan.
so everyone in here is a client. We never forget that. Some of us are active clients, some of us are inactive clients, and some of us are health coaches. But what we all have in common is every one of us has been a client. I know that as coaching, and I think the same is true for Dorothy, Martha Pickering, and Lisa and Tony, is that when we are helping other people have success, we're doing it as clients. The fact that we are coaches helps us help more people. But what we're always hearkening back to is when we were clients ourselves. For me, being a client is the very reason I become a coach, because I was trying to help other people. And becoming a health coach, I was told that I think the number Gay used was 78% of people that have become health coaches have maintained their weight loss, where if you look at anything else, very few people maintain their weight loss, and a lot of people put all their weight back on and more. And to see a number like that, it was really easy for me to make that decision to become a health coach, and I was only going to help a few people. That was my intent, and now it has become my favorite thing to do, is to help other people or to inspire other people or to just share knowledge about how you can be healthier by just doing simple things like eating 5 meals a day, having your breakfast, getting hydrated. You know, anybody else want to comment? Nope. All right. So we're going to hear from one of our nutrition support specialists. This is Nick Fry. He's such a cutie pie. Lisa, did you get to meet him at the last convention?
Yes.
Oh, good. So licensed clinical professional counselor. These people are highly educated, let me tell you, and they love what they do, and their reward is seeing the success in other people. He's a certified health education specialist with expertise in motivational interviewing, behavioral change methods, program design, and management evaluation and survey research, health communication, curriculum development, and training and capacity building. Experience includes supervising and leading health paraprofessionals, designing and managing weight loss and wellness programs, developing and delivering training workshops and seminars, communicating health information, and generating content for educational and support materials related to behavioral health, nutrition, exercise, and complementary health approaches. Nick is available to all of us. We can pick up the phone and he'll get on there and he'll talk to us. Our whole nutritional support team is there to help us. And all his experience and all his education is a phone call away.
what I've got for you guys this evening. Our guest speaker tonight is Nick Fry. He is a licensed clinical professional counselor and national certified counselor specializing in addictions, disordered eating, motivation, and health behavior change. He received his master's degree in counseling psychology from Loyola University, Maryland, and currently provides coaching and counseling support for Take Shape for Life. We feel very blessed to have him as part of our optimal health community. Nick has been in the behavioral health field for 10 years, working in outpatient clinics, private practice, and community mental health centers before finding his true calling of helping others lose weight and get healthy. He tells me he is a fervent comic book reader, an avid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, and a zealous thesaurus user. I do hope this evening, Nick, we don't have to dig out our thesauruses. Actually, for those of you that have heard Nick speak, know that he's a very compelling speaker. And Nick, I'm going to turn this over to you. I know you have some information you'd like to open with at the beginning. And then I do have some questions that people have sent to me already. I don't know if we'll have time for additional questions afterwards or not. But for right now, Nick, go ahead and take it away. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for the warm welcome, Shirley. I really appreciate that. As she said, my name is Nick Fry, and I've got a special guest with me tonight. This is Matthew. He's my Chihuahua. He says hi as well. Hi, everybody. He's chilling with me tonight. So as Shirley said, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a brief little discussion about something I think is going to be really helpful for everybody, and then I'm going to answer some questions. So what I'm going to talk about tonight is actually dealing with self-sabotage. Now, many people struggle with self-sabotage, and that leads them off track and back to old, unhealthy behaviors. But where does this come from, and more importantly, how do we deal with it? Well, let's talk about the inner critic. You all probably know the inner critic, right? It's that voice that speaks to your self-doubt, your fear. The inner critic says things like, I made a mistake, the whole day is ruined, or I'm completely out of control, or I'm going to screw up and I'm going to lose all that I've worked really hard to achieve. And when we listen to that voice, we hear people from our past, information that we've taken in telling us that we're not good enough, beautiful enough, smart enough, thin enough, etc. The inner critic destroys our self-confidence and causes us to return to old, unhealthy behavior. Now, here's the thing. The problem is not that our inner critic exists. Everyone has one. Problems come when we get caught up or carried away by what it says, letting it dictate our actions, basically letting it tell us what to do. So we can't get rid of our inner critic or yell at it to go away. That actually only makes it more powerful because we're giving it attention. So here's how to deal with the inner critic more effectively, and it's a technique that you're probably familiar with. It's called Stop, Challenge, Choose. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Dr. A's Stop, Challenge, Choose, and we're actually going to apply it to how to deal with our inner critic, or that voice inside of our head that tells us that we're not good enough, or we made a mistake and everything's ruined. So first we stop, we take a breath, and we recognize that what we're saying or thinking is the inner critic. Know ahead of time what are some of your inner critic's favorite lines, like, I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve this, or I made a mistake so everything's ruined. There's typical things that our inner critic says to us all the time. Then step 2 is challenge, right? You want to challenge your inner critic by labeling it. I like to say something like, aha, that's my inner critic, not me. Remind yourself that your inner critic doesn't represent what you truly want. Because if you're on Take Shape for Life, or you're thinking about it, you're a client, you're a health coach, probably what you truly want is optimal health. So you have to remind yourself, you challenge that by saying your inner critic is not you. Then the third step is choose. You choose to let the inner critic be. There's no need to argue with it or refute what it says. In fact, again, attention only gives it power. This does not make the inner critic go away. Remember, that's impossible, but paying less attention to it causes it to shrink and lose power. So once you choose to just kind of let it be, allow it to be there, then you can return to the present moment and focus on the here and now and really do what matters. So when you can recognize and deal with that inner critic by using stop, challenge, choose, so it doesn't lead you back to those old unhealthy behaviors, then you can free yourself from that cycle of self-sabotage. Now, this technique will take some practice in order to get good at. Therefore, it can be really, really helpful to track when you experience that self-sabotage and your response to it. So the best way to do this is to keep track of the day and time when you hear that inner critic trying to self-sabotage you. Write down what your inner critic says and whether or not you tried stop, challenge, choose. If you use the technique, if you practiced it, write down how it worked for you. If you didn't use the technique, well, then write down how your behavior changed. What happened when you followed what your inner critic said, or what did these actions cost you? And so what this does is it helps you to keep track of your success using this technique. So again, we want to stop, take a deep breath, challenge, say, there's my inner critic, not me, and then choose, I'm just going to choose to let that be, and I'm going to go do something that's important and healthy and really helpful for myself. So keep practicing that technique until it becomes almost automatic. So when that inner critic comes up, you stop, challenge, choose, and that's going to help you break free of that cycle of self-sabotage. So that's kind of my brief talk for tonight. Shirley, I'm going to turn it back over to you. I know that there was...
That was it.
Good.
Something we all experience, right?
Yep.
So we're all capable of so much more than we think we are. Do we get an amen on that?
Amen.
I'm telling you. Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. And I think that really speaks to when we compare ourselves. And there is nobody like us. There's no one we should be comparing ourselves to. And I think by learning, I know for me, it's never going to affect me, but it's certainly going to make it easier and make it better. As I learn more about what causes my problems, I can pay more attention to correcting the things I do and it being easier for me to get what I want in the end. So my takeaway this evening is there's reasons why things happen. And when you understand, like Dorothy does, about blood sugar and controlling your insulin, then I think everything else will take care of itself. Every problem we're having, whether it's disease, whether it's obesity, it's all directly related to us, if I'm saying it correctly, to us unleashing insulin. And by balancing the foods that we eat, staying to low glycemic, eating frequent meals and not big heavy meals, and starting the day with breakfast, hydrating, all of these are healthy habits that we've learned that we can take into our lifelong habits. And I would think give us greater quality of life and add years to our life. What I enjoy most about my life is, well, I think that's real obvious. It's my family, and my friends. I love being with people and helping people. Now, one of my favorite memories from long ago is, I changed this up a little bit tonight because I wanted to hear some good stories. And I think the one that I will share is when I first met Tony. That's one of my favorite stories. He came to work at where I was working, and everybody was buzzing about him. I didn't know who he was. And then when he was in the training room, we later learned that I had taken some. We were in sales, in timeshare sales, and that's the first time I'd ever worked in there. And they had taken me out of training because they had a group of like 16 people that the people who had come to work that day didn't want to take because they only had that. The morning was their best shot. And they didn't want to get stuck with 16 people. So nobody wanted to take me. So they called me, give me your most energetic person, and don't worry about it. We'll show them the prices. So I took them out, and I was trying to buy timeshare in my training class. And so I took them out and I was telling them about it and brought them back. And I think it was 6 bought that day. And then the next day, 2 more people bought. So they used me as an example for people who prejudge their clients, but they used me in training. So while everybody was out there buzzing to me about him, they were also talking about me in training. So when he and I met, that was how we met, because we had already heard about each other from other people. And then when I'd come to work, I'd be wondering if he was there. And it started with me getting close to work. Then it was getting off of I-4, and then it was getting on to I-4. And then I started waking up and wondering if he was at work. So I knew I was in trouble.
Yeah, it was good too.
Yeah. And it was really funny because all the people we worked with, when we were just being friends, everybody thought we were in an intimate relationship, and we were not. And then by the time they realized we weren't in an intimate relationship, we were.
You were.
Nobody realized it. It was funny. We were the talk of the resort, no doubt about it. That's a favorite time of my life. Yeah. So I think I will pass this to Martha Pickering.
My takeaway this evening is, from the very beginning, because Stop, Challenge, and Choose was one of their first models or things to help you. I used it with eating, and I've used it with several others. I've never actually used it or thought about using it when I am in one of my I don't know why I'm here bit and things. And I really think that this is something I am going to start using. Because I've been having a lot of self-pity days, and I don't need that and stuff and things. What I enjoy most about my life is right now it's being with my kids. It's been great to be around them and things, and Missy come home from work and made me supper. I was going to do her supper, but she beat me to it. She's eating very healthy too. She has started eating healthy, so it's really been a lot easier. And Colleen is going back on eating healthy, so it's going to be easier eating around them. One of my favorite memories from long ago is, I think it's our first trip cross country. We had started the first year we were married. We had a Apache fold down there where the beds come out of the side and were a tent. We traded that for a tag along, and I had twin beds on each side in the back of the trailer. And we put Colleen on top because she was a baby. And when we left Syracuse, she could set up there. And by the time we got home, she was like crouched over because she'd grown so much. But we went cross country, had a lot of fantastic memories from it. Colleen first time put her foot on grass and was not sure she liked it. Now you can't keep her shoes on her most certainly. But we had a marvelous time, and I think it was a start of many, many trips camping with our children.
Thank you for sharing, Martha.
Good.
Who are you passing to?
Lisa.
Oh, y'all, my brain is fried.
Uh-oh.
I am just, my takeaway this evening, and this is going to sound funny, but is that I'm so much more educated about how to take better care of myself today than I was just a very short time ago. And while I learned something new in all of these Zooms, I'm always pleasantly surprised with myself of what I already have a grasp of along with it. So I really appreciate that. And I'm hard-pressed to say what I enjoy most about my life, but I would say the big thing is that I am, in fact, enjoying my life completely. Like, it's not one thing for me to point a finger at. And if y'all remember me when I first joined this little group, that certainly was not the case.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite memories from long ago, I don't know why this popped in my head when I read that question, but the thing that popped in my brain was when I was in kindergarten and my dad came to visit me, and he was in his full dress Army uniform, all handsome with his boots, his trousers tucked in his boots and blouse and all pressed and all good looking. And I every time I picture that in my brain, I still remember all the little girls' eyes just getting real big. That's your daddy? And I'm like, yep.
My brother.
Yes, so that's my memory, and I don't know who talked, so I'm going to pass it to Bird Mom. Did you talk yet?
No, not yet, no.
Okay, it's all you.
Thank you. My takeaway this evening is still about the eating those small meals throughout the day and how it really controls those blood sugar spikes. It's so important. So it's really a very, very important thing for me to learn, and it's going to help with my continued maintenance and weight loss. What I most enjoy about my life is that I don't have to go to a job every day that I really don't like and waste time there. I like the freedom to do what I want. I love living at the Cove, and I love going to the gym and meeting the people and working out.
Cool.
One of my favorite memories from long ago is always when the school year would end. That was such a great feeling. Yeah. Just absolute joy when that would happen.
Summer.
Yeah. Okay, I'll pass to Tony.
Oh, okay. Well, my takeaway this evening is I find myself, after all this time that Connie has got me started with Take Shake for Life and the things that I do, I find myself eating about every 3 or 4 hours. I seem to be desiring to eat something like that every 3 hours. And apparently, for some reason or other, my weight stays pretty much the same. I may lose 2 pounds and then gain them right back, or gain 3 pounds and lose them right back. But I stay that way because I guess it's because I eat just about every 3 hours or something, which is my takeaway. What I enjoy most about my life, believe it or not, is my grandchildren and great-grandchildren. I enjoy the pants out of them, even though sometimes they drive me crazy, but I really enjoy the way they behave, the way they do things. It's just, it's a different world. When I see a little 3-year-old with a cell phone playing games in it and knows how to use it, I go, when I was 3 years old, I didn't even know how to go potty yet.
I know.
What's going on with this world? It's interesting, and I enjoy that. I enjoy the fact that they are learning so much faster than we did when I was growing up. And one of my favorite memories from long ago is when I used to play music with a whole bunch of adult people, and I was the youngest one in the band. And we played in clubs that sell liquor, and I wasn't allowed to. After at the breaks, I had to go backstage and stay back there. I couldn't go and mix with the people or go close to the bar because I was underage. I wasn't do that. I had a license, and my father's mother had to allow me to play music. It was kind of nice to be able to do that, but I wanted to go there with other people.
How old were you?
About 15.
Oh, okay.
And I wasn't allowed to do that. So, yeah.
That sounds like that would be fun.
What
Being
did you
somewhere
play?
you're not supposed to be. So who you going to pass to? You got Dorothy and you got Martha.
Dorothy.
My takeaway from this evening is something I just wanted to add is you can know everything that you can know about your blood sugar levels, but if you don't plan, like when you have a busy schedule, it's very easy to fall off that plan. And I've done it many times, but I try to start every day. to look like it's going to be successful. But sometimes, you know, mom's involved or other things are involved. But that's, if you can be prepared for those times is really important.
Yes.
What I enjoy most about my life is family. I'm like everybody else. I really enjoy when I get the opportunity to
How's your grandson?
spend time with my youngest grandson, because he's really a lot of fun. One of my favorite memories and that you talking about Tony reminded me of when my husband and I were first going together. He had a buddy that had a racehorse, and they lived approximately 5 miles from our house, and it was Thanksgiving. I've probably told this story before, but it was Thanksgiving, and my grandmother was sitting by the front window. We lived in the suburbs, and he and his buddy came over on the horse, and they stuck the horse's head right up to the window where my grandma. This was on Thanksgiving, so the window was closed, but it was still scary. And of course, they were in trouble because it was a racehorse that, you know, it was a trotter that they brought and down the pavement for 5 miles. But it was kind of exciting.
I never heard that story before. That's funny.
To have them do that, but that was on a Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So that I'm going to call her Martha number 3, because I don't
Oh,
know.
okay. There you go.
Martha number 3, you can go next.
Okay. My takeaway from this evening is my timing isn't very good, and I understand a little bit better about what the sugar level's doing when I start to not feel very good. And if I'd eaten 20 minutes sooner, what, you know, my Metafast or whatever, I could stop that. And but I'm really busy right now with some things that have to be taken care of, so it's hard to keep on, not on the program, but just keep track of time.
Yeah.
What I enjoy most about my life is my family, my son, and so many, many, many dear friends I have. And they're all over the country now that I've become a nudist.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. We had the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Favorite memory from long ago. I think it's the trip that my dad took us on to the Seattle World's Fair in '62. He bought an Airstream and a big truck, and it took us for a 5-week trip out across the Rocky Mountains, and I just loved everything that went on that whole 5 weeks.
How
with
old
my
are you?
family. 14.
And you have siblings?
Yes, I had a brother and a sister with me, and I had an older brother and sister who were already gone and married.
Oh,
So there were
wow.
5 of us.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. Well, thank you, everyone, for sharing. That was really nice. And thank you for coming.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Well, we'll see you next week, and we'll pick up where we left off.
Okay, sounds good.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.